sleep is, as a friend of mine said, the nature's ability and best attempt at immortality. That is what sleep is. It is us trying to reverse things. If you can do that well, that means everything's working.
You mentioned magnesium a few times. Now, this gets very confusing because, and I'm confused about this.
I've also never given that metaphor before, but it's so accurate.
So good. It's so good.
Accurate.
I love that. Okay, I want to talk about magnesium for a minute because it's very confusing and misleading because there's so many different types of magnesium, and in all the marketing of every company, it's like, I've got this and I've got that. And I'm confused too. Like, do you need magnesium citrate? Do you need like ones to help you go to the bathroom, ones to help you sleep? Can you help us understand that?
Totally.
Like, and what's actually needed in magnesium? Like, what do we actually need and what don't we need?
Yeah, so I'll make this really simple for people. I want you to think about how you get magnesium from food. And even if you have no nutritional background at all, I want you to ask yourself a question, just use your intuition. So if you think about it, do you think your body is asking for certain forms of magnesium every time you eat something? For example, this one crosses the blood-brain barrier, this one's good for muscles, or does the body do it some other way that maybe you don't understand, you're not aware of? So the answer, pretty obviously for those of us that have a nutrition concepts, is that no. Like, whether we're talking about any element, the body's not going to go, oh, if you don't give me lithium, fill in the blank form of lithium or magnesium or potassium, then it won't work. Like, that's kind of idiotic when you see it from this realm. What we've been taught over the last decade is so as a chemical engineer, I design processes first as a background, like the industrial process that builds the cars, for example. We design that. We don't design like the rear view mirror of the car. We design the process that makes it, so we can change the process and then change the outcome. What chemists do is they look at the outcome and they go, we can combine this outcome with other things, which is also cool. I also do that. And then doctors just go, oh, well, something's wrong. We need these things that exist out there. We need to put those together, or we need to do drugs or whatever it is. Nutritionists look at supplements that are available and foods, and they just kind of deal with what's available. So as a chemical engineer, I was like, let's create something different that matches, has biomimicry or bioharmony with what the body's doing with food. So in every case, when you've heard a certain type of, let's take the example of magnesium, there's plenty of marketing out there that just says, and it's a great angle for people to, like, it's really hard to,
I bought into it. I'm like, I need all these different kinds of magnesium.
Totally, because what is happening? So that's not the case, but what is the case is, if you could absorb magnesium as the element, the body would just figure out how to do it, which, by the way, magnesium becomes totally different things in the body, because if you think about it, this is a large thought that most people have never heard. I've said this only a handful of times, but everything you eat, protein, fat, carbs, guess what it all is a collection of? It's all elements. It's nothing but elements. It's the periodic table. So knowing that new concept would, again, ask your intuition, would it be smart to test for that regularly in a way that's reliable? And that, to me, is hair, because blood is not going to show you deficiency until it's way too late, because the body's just meant to make the blood perfect, hence the word lifeblood. That's crucial. So you want an approximation of the tissue, which hair is tissue, organs are tissue.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going deeper here because I'm just confused on magnesium still. So, like, if you're eating a food that has magnesium in it, it doesn't say the kind of magnesium, it's just magnesium. And you're saying your body does with it what it needs. So why, with supplements, have, like, some magnesium brands, they break down all the different types of magnesium? Like, because we don't do that with other vitamins or minerals. So I'm confused. Where did that even come from? And why do we think it's important?
So we did it that way because we started looking at, we had a poor manufacturing system. So what I was able to do is build a better manufacturing system that produces an outcome that's similar to digested food. A plasma of minerals is what we have, because I knew most people have a broken digestive system. They have low stomach acid, they have candida, they have parasites, they have mold, they have a long list of problems in the gut. They have leaky gut, because even if they're eating gluten-free, they're still occasionally getting glyphosate because, you know, it was on the salad that wasn't organic, or you know, whatever it is, jet fuel, like all these different things. Stress can cause leaky gut. There's a long, it's not easy. If you're struggling with your health, it's not your fault. It's not easy, but hopefully everything we're talking about is going to majorly help. And I've seen that for people even getting off of pharmaceutical drugs, doing what we're talking about. We use this hair analysis and these supplements as a guided thing, where it's like, you need to know the problem before you can address it. And then you need to check on that problem. As it improves, something else might happen, and you address that. And you just get better and better over time. But the reason why we have multiple forms being taught is because what we had was one type of manufacturing system that couldn't do what ours can, which is create a plasma out of minerals. So take pure magnesium, make a plasma out of it using nanotechnology equipment and practices like you know, using electricity and voltage, and in a way that you can do some of these things. So we've literally done a clinical trial on our magnesium product, and it's, to my knowledge, the only magnesium product on the market, by the way, that has a clinical trial, which is like double-blinded, placebo-controlled. People didn't know what they're taking. They saw up to, so Barton, we can talk about it later, but
so basically, if your magnesium, your technology, the way that you're doing it, is this, am I hearing this right? That's kind of like having it from food, and your body knows what to do with it because it's already broken down. Is that like the way you would use a digestive enzyme with something? Is that, I know I'm oversimplifying, but is that?
Sure. So so that's close. The only thing I would add to it is, imagine there are, let's say, 100 steps or 10 steps, either way you look at it, of the digestive process. And then at that last step, the nutrients are ready to go into the bloodstream, and they go in. And so what happens at that moment, that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're mimicking. And what we're seeing there is the particle size of the minerals of all these other types of, like, take these 5 forms or 7 forms, take this form, it's the best for sleep, or this is the, and I mean, we did a clinical trial on sleep to prove that hey, this is incredible. And if it works for that, it works for everything. Sleep is, as a friend of mine said, the nature's ability and best attempt at immortality. That is what sleep is. It is us trying to reverse things. If you can do that well, that means everything's working. So we did a sleep trial on this to show, and you saw the benefits of that right away. But it's gentle, so it's easy to not remember that, hey, this is the thing that really moved the needle. So we changed the particle size is really what we did.
So when someone says you need to have magnesium citrate and all these things, you're saying, no, you just need a better process for magnesium. Like, is that okay?
Exactly. Yeah, that and every other element. Yeah,
because if you're taking something that has all like 3 different types or 2 different or whatever, you're saying you're probably not even absorbing those different things.
Right. You're absorbing a portion of the 2 to 7 types of magnesium out there. So you'll see, like, just some marketing that says, oh, we have these different types, and this one does this and this one. And you're like, that sounds great. The only problem is you're going to absorb about 20% of all of it. And that won't be enough to really reverse the deficiency. And that was the case that I had, and in my 20s, and my mother had in her 60s. My girlfriend at the time had, her mom, and then her friend that was going through cancer in her late 20s had done a hair test, and we found basically an early version of what we offer today, in a much more streamlined, organized fashion. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. I mean, I had a degree in chemical engineering, and so chemistry is something I study. I'll spend a lot of time with. Spend a lot of time with the periodic table. I was like, here we go. This is what I've been looking for. If we can, because I know you talk about root cause a lot, and think about that too. just like with solving a problem in your business or your relationship, what is the root? Not this up here problem. What is below that? And for nutrition, I realized, and health, I realized if we can solve the deficiency, we're a long way towards solving the problem.